Welcome back, Holotable Heroes, to another Galaxy of Heroes video. That's right, I'm excited, and it's got nothing to do with the coffee I've been drinking this morning. Or has it? Alright guys, Conquest is back, baby, and you know your boy Scribble is here to help you get through all your feats. This one is super important, guys. Taron Malgus is the reward for this season of Conquest, and he looks phenomenal. We're going to go through Conquest Sector 1 feats, and I'm going to show you how to wreck them. Oh, baby, let's go.
So give it up.
My dead body.
Okay, here we are. Sector 1 feats. The boss has changed. That is correct. We have got Crosshair. No, this is not the first instance of Crosshair appearing in the game. Crosshair does also feature in Rise of the Empire, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's take a look at the sector feats for Sector 1. They are actually super easy. We have got Armor Up, which is gain defense up 40 times. We've got Unguarded, which means we need to win 14 battles with no tanks. We need to kill 50 enemies with droid units, and we need to attempt to inflict ability block 60 times. So before we start jumping into these sector feats, I want to start off with just a little bit about what teams you guys need to be looking out for. That is correct, guys. To make our lives easier, we always want to try and fight some people with particular lineups, okay? So, one thing I will mention is that one of the global feats is to gain 250 kills on the challenge path. Now, the challenge path is the golden path here. If you go over to the modifiers, you'll see it says challenge path. Now, I always recommend, when you're going through Conquest in general, always follow the golden path anyway, but it's even more so important this time because we need to get 250 kills. So whenever you can, make sure you're following this path. But also, do take a look out for nodes such as this. Imperial Trooper nodes are really good for farming kills because they start with 5 units, or even 6 in fact, and they also have bonus revives that cannot be prevented. So you'll always get these 5, and they will always revive at least 3 times, which means you can get 8 kills instead of just the regular 5. Now, we do have the 50 kills with droid units, so if you're going up with your droids against someone like Imperial Troopers, they are going to be reviving, giving you extra kills, which makes that feat a little bit easier for you to accomplish. Okay, other teams to look out for can be stuff like Mon Mothma over here. Mon Mothma has an additional unit she summons. Yes, you can't always kill her, but there is also the possibility of revives, particularly if Xaereth Rebel Pathfinder is in that team. If he has a buff, when he dies, he will revive. Just don't dispel that buff. Other teams to look out for can include things like bounty hunters. Let's see if we can find one. Geonosians always have an additional unit at the start. GBA can also revive units with his second special. Who else have we got here? More Geonosians. See, it's pretty... Newt Gunray. Newt Gunray has always got a revive. Django has got Bounty Hunter's Resolve. You've got 2 revives there. Night Sisters, they can revive, thanks to Daka being able to revive all her allies. You play a little bit of a dangerous game. If you let them stay too long, they can outlast you and start killing you. What else is useful here? Let's have a look. I mean, I always recommend people try to find a Xaereth lead Starkiller because they are very useful at farming certain debuff feats. Now, my current data disk setup is kind of an antithesis to that. It makes it very difficult for me to do them because the enemy just dies too quickly. But always look out for a Starkiller node if you can. What else is useful? Just having a look here. Empire. Empire spawn an additional unit. That's 1 extra bonus kill for you. And the last thing I would say is if you do happen to find a Bounty Hunter node, I don't have one in Sector 1, Bounty Hunter node, particularly a Django lead Bounty Hunter. Django, like we said, has got Bounty Hunter's Resolve. Boba Fett has got Bounty Hunter's Resolve. Those are 2 revives, but with a Django lead, if you let them hit contract, everybody on the team will gain Bounty Hunter's Resolve. So what I like to do is kill Django once, kill Boba once, they use up their Bounty Hunter's Resolve, you let them hit contract, and then everybody gets it. So you can actually get upwards of 12 kills, 14 kills in some cases with that one node. It is super useful. Okay, let's start breaking this down. We want to start looking at, I think, in my opinion, trying to get multiple tags, okay? Multiple tags, multiple feats done in one go. So we know we need to win 14 battles without using any tanks. We need to get stuff like defense up. We need to get stuff like ability blocks up. We need to get kills with droids. So I'm going to start bundling in a couple of those feats together. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to go in with droid kills and no tanks, and I'm going to use a General Grievous setup here. We've got GG, we've got B1, I'm throwing in IG-88 and IG-11 and BB-8. I know it sounds dumb, but this gives us no tanks. B2 and Maggie are both tanks. This here will give us, certainly give us droid kills. BB-8 is going to give us a bunch of TM out of the gate. He gives 8% TM per droid, so when you go in with a full droid team, that is 40% TM, which makes your team incredibly fast. You've got GG, B1, IG-88 and IG-11. None of those are tanks. IG-11 is actually a healer, not a tank. The rest are attackers. And you can more or less go in against any node with this team. Sector 1, the enemies are not crazy. And depending on the data discs you pick up along the way, you get even more powerful. So, if you can, use this against teams like the Imperial Troopers. I'm just going in against a standard node that I need to progress on over here. So I'm going in up against a standard GG team featuring what? I'm just going to destroy them, because my data disk setup is, quite frankly, disgusting. I'll show you it now. I mean... and then we'll just shoot. Stuff like that will easily get you those wins and those kills. So, because we need to do it 14 times, ladies and gentlemen, it's not 14 times. Well, we need to win 14 times with no tanks, and we also need to get 50 kills with droids. You do want to try and make sure that if you can fight a team that's got revives and that sort of thing, that you pick them out, because it is in your interest, okay? But this sort of team will carry you through quite a lot of nodes, and you'll actually be able to pull down a lot of stamina. Okay, so Imperial Troopers is another team that you can start to use to burn through your no tanks and some droid kills. Dark Trooper is a tank, is a droid, guys, and there are no real tanks in the Imperial Trooper sector squad. Not if you're using an ideal setup anyway. So the idea here is less about trying to get those kills, it's just trying to get some ancillary kills with your droids as you go through and get those no tanks in your team. Okay, so Dark Trooper, whenever he assists, which will be frequently, getting those kills just means you're adding up to that feat, and you don't have to worry too much about, you know, not using tanks and getting those kills. It just sort of comes organically, and you get to spread out that stamina cost as you're going through the sector. Because you need to get 14 wins with no tanks, it means it does drain your stamina. There's only so many teams that you can use. Datacron inventory cap reached already. In the exact same vein as that, we can go ahead and use CLS. CLS does not use a tank under normal circumstances, and 3PO and Chewie is also a droid, so you'll be able to go through, no tanks, get some droid kills. Chewie also assists all the time when a rebel uses it, so it's quite likely that he gets a kill. Now, with my data disk setup, which is volatile accelerator with a bunch of amplify agonies, we are just going to shred face. It's unlikely that Chupio actually gets the kills. Even with very low stamina, we are able to wreck house here, guys. We've got so much damage output. But again, it's less about specifically getting those droid kills right now, and more about actually going out there and trying to get those no-tank victories with just some ancillary benefits of getting those droid kills. It's very straightforward to actually do. As you can see, it just shreds face, guys. Absolutely destroys face. Okay, so we're going to move on now and look at trying to get those ability blocks and those defense ups. Now, Clone Wars Chewie makes it very, very easy. I'd recommend you do this on, you know, bonus nodes or something like that. My Clone Wars Chewie's gear 4. His leadership over here is what gives us the benefits, right? All allies gain 50 defense, okay? 50% chance to gain defense up for 3 turns whenever you are damaged. So either you do this, you just burn one of your uses on something that has low damage output and attacks a lot, like a Mon Mothma team, or you go in against the bonus node and get it there, so you don't have to worry about dropping stars on the battle. Now I'm throwing in Grandmaster Yoda because he can then spread those buffs. Barasofi over here actually provides a source of defense up with a second special, but also will help us keep us alive, because as we're getting crit, we're going to be recovering health. Old Ben over here has got a taunt that can give us defense up across the team. He also has an AoE ability block, and I'm just throwing in Malgus because we have a global feat where we need Malgus to survive, and we're already using tanks in this sector. Ideally, you want to try and knock this out in one battle. I'm going up over here against a Star Killer team. But you'll note, here we go, immediately defense up. Immediately defense up, defense up. Let's go ahead and do a heal. Everybody gets defense up. Now if I do this AoE ability block, booyah, ability blocks across the board. We get some of that defense up. It's lovely. Now let's just have a look here. 50%. Right, okay. So let's go ahead and take out Visas Margam up against the Star Killer node. They're useful for farming certain feats, but really you want to try and get rid of Star Killer if possible. Taunts for 1 turn, health, I don't even know what he does. Gains defense up for 2 turns. Ooh, we could totally do that. Booyah, more defense up. Good, she's dead. Let's go after Star Killer now. Let's taunt. Oh, look, defense up across the board. Big hit on Star Killer, please. Thank you very much. That's just basic here. There we go. Now, you want to leave Barrisofi alone because, you know, she can actually gain bonus TM and she can cleanse her allies and stuff like that. So I'm just going to do a spready here. That's even more defense up. Look at her gaining all these bonus turns. Lovely. All these hits over here, giving us a chance to get defense up. So super, super useful. Just going to basic over here. Lovely. And a basic. And then we're just going to work on Mara Jade now. Now, that one battle has probably already given us enough to get the defense ups that we need, thankfully. Because of the way Clone Wars Chewie's leadership works, it just gives us a very, very easy source of that defense up and spreading it. So even if it doesn't work in one battle, you can then use it against multiple battles. Or like I said, in an ideal world, you take it up against something like a Mon Mothma team. They've got multiple sources of attacks so that they're able to trigger that defense up very, very quickly. Okay, let's think then about ability blocks. There are a number of teams that can make this happen very, very easily. But really it's more about trying to make sure that you farm it out. So what I would recommend doing is actually using a team similar to a JML lead. Okay, JML has got an AoE ability block on his second special over here, so that can give you sources of ability blocks across the board. We can then double that up with Old Ben Zaris and even Plo Koon. All of these guys have got sources of defense up. GMY can spread that defense up again. And we've got 2 sources of ability blocks here. So you can sort of double dip there. Double dip into getting multiple feats. Try to do it against teams that have got multiple units on the field. So anybody that's got an extra summon. So we're talking Empires, we're talking GG, we're talking Geo, sorry, we're talking Mon Mothma, for example. Makes this that little bit easier. I'd recommend you just do it as you're going along so that you can get multiple feats as you progress. Okay, so what I want to do before we start going on any further is just think about how can we do the boss feats, okay? So I'm going to start off with the mini boss feats, and there are always 2. Now, unfortunately, in Sector 1, they have been split up, so it's impossible to get all the feats in one battle. You need to win with crew surviving, and then you need to win without using any Jedi, Sith, or Unaligned Force users. Unfortunately, crew being an Unaligned Force user means that you can't double dip here. So, in order to get the crew victory, this first mini boss feat is actually very, very easy. So let's have a look here. Mini boss over here. I'm just going to use an EP Mara Jade setup featuring crew. In fact, I will go so far as to drop Grand Admiral Thrawn, and I'm going to throw in here, where is Sith Empire? There we go. I'm going to throw in Malgus because we know we need the global feats for it. You do not need Malgus for this to happen. Okay, guys, I promise you, EP Mara Jade with crew and Darth Vader will be enough for you to kill this entire mini-boss battle. It is not difficult. It's a weird smorgasbord of units. I don't understand the synergy. They just thought, let's pick a hat of random characters and that will be our team. So EP Mara Jade has just got ultimate TM train, really. And, I mean, what more is there to say? It's like we take a turn and we win, basically. So that will give you crew surviving. That will also help dip into the global feats to give us a Malgus victory as well. So there we go. We get the crew surviving feat there. Now we do have a win without using Jedi, Sith, or Unaligned Force users as one of the feats here, and this applies to both the mini boss node and the boss node. I'm going to do it in one battle for you guys at the back end here against Crosshair. And then afterwards we'll go over to Ben Solo surviving. So honestly, guys, it's pretty straightforward, really. We could just go ahead and use the boss node. This one over here, this team that gives us our no tanks and our droid kills, doubles up as well. No Unaligned Force users, no Jedi Sith, so we can go ahead and use GG here as well. It's phenomenal. I love to see it. I love to see it. So we're dipping on the sector feats, and we're also getting the 2 of the boss feats done at the same time. It's kind of cool that we get to see Crosshair here. GG should, under normal circumstances, give us a little bit more of an advantage here, but because we are low on stamina, we weren't quite able to go first. As you can see, it doesn't even really matter. You can't kill Crosshair until everybody else is dead. It's very similar to the Rise of the Empire setup. In I believe it's the light side planets, where you need to be able to kill off everybody else before the leader will die. But it's very, very easy. Even with, you saw there I had like 50, 60 stamina, I think it was. And that will give you your droid kills as well. You know, that will give you no tanks as well. And you could do that on the mini-boss and on the boss of this sector. So the only thing left for us to really do is to find out how can we win with Ben Solo. Now, I'm not going to lie, guys. All right. If you don't have Ben Solo, or if you've only just unlocked him, it might be a bit tricky. We could probably do it with no tanks, but I'm not going to take in Rey, okay? I won't take in Rey, because I feel like if we start throwing in Rey, then we're pushing the ball out a little bit too far. But what I will do is I'll still use BB-8, because I still think... Actually, no, let's not use BB-8. Let's actually just go Resistance Bros. Let's go ahead, use the Resistance Bros. Who else should we throw in? Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll go Unaligned Force User, because we need to go ahead and we need to throw in Ben over here. And then I'm just going to throw in Malgus once again. And I think you'll see, even if you don't have Malgus and you can't get that global feat done, I promise you that you'll at least be able to get the Ben Solo done. Like, Malgus isn't even going to come into play here, I don't feel. I feel having the Bag Bros in this team, it will be enough damage output for us to clean shop here. And yes, we will unfortunately have to use a tank here with JTR, but you know, it's just one battle, guys. It's one battle. We should be able to get... Okay, he's going to die when he takes a turn. Let's go ahead and... Whoop! That'll also give us a source of ability block, thankfully. Lovely. Yeah, sure, let's just do this. Nice, and then we'll just do a mass assist from our boy Finn, and that'll be it. We'll get victories for global feats with Malgus, and we'll also get Ben Solo victory there as well. So we're double dipping once again. Okay, but that is actually Sector 1, guys. That is all the feats for Sector 1. They're fairly easy. I was able to do all of the actual sector feats as I was progressing through each node. Literally just, I 3-starred every single node. You know, without dropping battles, you just go in, you use these sort of teams, build up those feats as much as possible, and then you just have to clean up the boss node feats after you're done there. Remember, guys, any of the kills, any of the ability blocks, any of that, just save it for the bonus node. You'll be able to at least farm some data cache, get some extra data crons, farming it here. I don't recommend you do it as you go, okay? Try, as you're progressing through the sector, to be hitting some of those feats, okay? Try to be using teams that will help towards the sector feats as you go through, but ultimately your goal should be right now, just try to get through the entire sector and build up your data disks. So before we go, I'm just going to show you the data disk setup that I'm running right now. I got incredibly lucky with this setup. Very, very powerful, okay? Volatile Accelerator over here, it is a blue disc. This, whenever we do any damage to an enemy, they are going to get 3 dots on them. 3 damage over times, yes, which can't be resisted or evaded. They're going to gain turn meter, which is a bit of a double-edged sword. But when you pair that with Amplify Agony, I've got 2 blues and a grey Amplify Agony. We are doing ridiculous amounts of max percentage health damage whenever we cause a debuff. So those 3 dots that we do from one attack is going to trigger each of these Amplify Agonies 3 times. So, you know, that's 16.3, that's 21.4, times that by 3. We're talking, you know, 75% max health damage whenever we do damage to anybody. It's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage. And I've also got a pair of Ruthless Swiftness over here so that when we drop the enemy below maximum health, we are gaining bonus turn meter. I'm getting, what, just under 50% turn meter whenever I do that. This sort of data disk setup will basically kill anything in the world very, very quickly. It's useful for many things, killing feats, and for just progressing without losing units, but it's also a little bit counterintuitive because whenever you have to land debuffs, certain debuffs, you end up just killing the teams too quickly. You can always come back later on though and strip some of these data disks away and farm the feats that way. Alright guys, let me know in the comment section down below, what teams are you using for Sector 1? Are you enjoying Conquest? Have you had good data discs? I want to know. Make sure you like and subscribe as we are going through the entire Conquest sectors, all feats, red boxing, no problem. Stay tuned for these videos guys. Peace out. May the Force be with you.